Quick break. Only need a minute.
Go ahead. We're spinning up.
Okay.
So. Yay, Max can see us. Hi, Max.
In the pipe 5x5. Awesome. All right.
Yes. 5x5, 6x6.
Let me do this so I can see your face and my notes all at the same time. But my thinking is we'll get through the notes you guys discuss, and then depending on how close we are to time, then we'll go into the questions. Or you can always do. So,
Well, but I also want to get your take on some of these as well.
Yeah, but I mean, the types of games I play isn't as relevant, so.
Oh, I think it is though, because because you can play D&D as a roll the dice playing game or a role playing game, and I know you lean heavily more towards the role playing. So just the whole thought of the combat situation with Monday night and that sort of thing. So I kind of want to hear, since I don't get to hear your other games, I want to kind of hear what your that stuff.
So once they pick up the laptop and stuff, we should probably clean off the server a little.
Yeah, I know. Well, I did clean it off. You notice that there's a lot less stuff on there.
Oh yeah, I just mean dusting.
Yeah, no, I know. There's a can of compressed air somewhere in here.
Yeah.
But all right, as soon as Mew gets back, we will go. I'm leading, right?
You're leading, yes.
All right. Have my drink. Oh. Hey Max, since we're in the pre-show, are you still? Did you start A Realm Reborn and in Final Fantasy 14, and then just not? I don't want to say not play, but you haven't made it through the main story quest yet. If he's listening.
Yes.
Yeah, you may have stepped away. This Hangout. Oh, Hangouts on Air is going away August 1st. For quick streaming, try YouTube webcam.
All right. So clearly we need to figure that out.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Max is in it. Yeah. Okay. He's in it, but not through the expansions yet. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so that is good to know. Okay, so it's the same thing. Webcam stream okay, yeah. Me and I will have to get everything set up on what's that?
Figure out the tech piece of it.
Yeah. Hey, a wild Seema appears.
Yay!
I hear Mew. I hear him. He's coming back. He's coming back.
Hide.
Mm-hmm. And back.
There we go. All right. Cool. All right. Are we good?
Should be. The little boy is still napping. He's dealing with a high fever, so.
Oh, poor boy. Yeah. Today.
That's not good. Cold. I mean, fever in the summer is just not good at all.
No, and it's a virus going around, according to the doctors and nurses. So there's nothing you can do. You can literally just have to go through it.
Yeah, because there's no antibiotics for it. It's just like treat the fever. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, I get a fever and it requires more cowbell. No.
Yeah.
Right.
Gin and tonic?
Possibly. All right. You good, Mew?
Sure. Why not?
His mic arm is fighting him.
Yeah. Well, it's quite the setup. If you see it, it's actually now attached to. This is a laptop arm that's attached to the disc. So that's why it has a little extra wobble to it, but
you're good.
It's honestly the most stable setup I've had so far. It actually stays where I want it to, as opposed to where it was before. Anyway.
All right. Here we go. All right. Going live in 5, 4, 3. On this episode of the AIE Podcast.
We have a new victim. I mean, officer.
Wow. Come join AIE for some new stuff to do in WoW.
And it's the summer of 300.
Shadowbringers is semi-live, and it's good.
So much game news.
All that and more coming up right now.
Bringing you the latest news from the AIE gaming community from planet Earth and beyond. This is the AIE Podcast.
All right. Welcome to episode 323 of the podcast celebrating you, the Alea Iactus gaming community. The Die Has Been podcast. This is Tetsemi, and to my left is Mewcow.
Greetings, guildies and gamers.
And to my right and up is McCullough.
Hey guys, there are some dark chocolate fig cakes in the guild kitchen.
Yes, because figs are in season. That's awesome. Unfortunately, due to real-life conflicts, we are joined by previously unannounced special guests, us. Abo and Duras were indisposed, but they will be on next podcast to talk about the actual launch of Final Fantasy XIV and how it's going.
Can we be honest? They're actually just busy playing and they couldn't.
We could say that, but that's not actually true. We know we know what's going on, but yeah, that's what it would seem like. Yes,
it really, yeah.
Yeah, I won't mention the fact that they're both sitting in the Final Fantasy voice channel right now, probably playing. So yeah, that has nothing to do with anything, though. Nothing at all.
No,
nothing at all.
Just kidding, guys. Right. We love you. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks about exactly what you're doing.
2 weeks.
Exactly. 2 weeks. All right, we will be digging into how and what we game shortly, but first, let's cover this week's news.
AIE News.
Welcome and congratulations to Male Lug Arrow Shield as they join the AIE Officer Corp.
Yay!
Yay! And the chat room.
And the chat room. Oh, hey, there you go. And also, Summer of Love Week for AIE will be starting around July 28th and running until August 4th, with the August 2nd reserved for the actual annual Remembrance Day. Guild fun events in almost all games and divisions are being planned for that week, and a full schedule and details will be published on the Guild blog soon, so keep an eye out for it. Yep. And in community news, we have all kinds of mandatory fun nights where fun is mandatory, but attendance is not, but should be. A couple of games have moved days, or did move days in the past, or like to have extra days, so be sure you double check when everything's running on the schedule. So starting with, and actually I wanted to do this last week. Oh, no, we did that last week. Sunday today. Yeah, we did move it last week. STO will be starting in about 21 minutes at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to join them during or after the show. On Monday, we have Guild Wars 2 at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And then Tuesday, we have SWTOR at 9 p.m. Eastern. Or what is that, 8 p.m. Central Time?
No, it's not. It's 9 p.m. Okay, sorry. I was looking at the wrong one. Yes, 8 p.m. max time.
Yes, 8 p.m. max time. Yeah. Wednesdays is the early edition of the Final Fantasy XIV Fun Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. And then on Fridays, we have ESO at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then we have Final Fantasy Late Night at 11 p.m. Eastern.
But pretty much they're on this entire week. I mean, if you log into the Discord, you're going to find Abo and Duras and a few others in Final Fantasy voice chat, regardless of what time it is.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that they've only been taking breaks to shortly rest and then pop right back on. So we'll talk more about that. But otherwise, Saturdays, Lord of the Rings Online has an 8:30 p.m. Eastern slot. And a new raid in WoW has an 11 p.m. Eastern slot. So there's plenty going on all week. Make sure you join in.
All right, and in Guild podcast news, SOTOR Escape Podcast 297, our creator content interview. This week, AIE SEMA, Max the Gray, and Astromech 297 explain what the heck we mean in our answers to our creative content interview with Daniel Steed that was published on SOTOR.com on Thursday. So also check out clearly SOTOR.com.
Yes.
As well as Escape Podcast 297. And in Escape Podcast 298, the Summer of 300, this week AIE SEMA, Max Gray, and Astromech 297 kick off the Summer of 300, where they work to get the last few of their 8 classes to CXP rank 300 before those achievements are retired when 6.0 launches. They talk tricks and tips to get that sweet CXP. And in Working Class Nerds, episode 247, does E3 rhyme with PvP? I guess it does.
Yeah.
Kind of. You stretch it, yeah. Marcus and Nick are joined by AIE Guildie Medulla and Next Nazir to talk about what they're expecting. Wow, I can't speak. Talk about what they're excited that they saw at this year's E3 conference, as well as the current and upcoming state of PvP in SOTOR. And in Nomads, Harry Potter was united. A handful of AIE members are trading friend codes and capturing the Foundables. It's pretty much Pokemon Go clone with a Harry Potter theme and a few twists like brewing potions, dealing with Harry Potter-based monsters, freeing students and stuff like that. It's a fun game.
I think they're fighting Haggard in weird places.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trapped by spiders. Do be careful of the phone drain, the battery drain on it. It does kind of drain the battery, but most new games do.
Yep. All right. And in WoW news, right now, as a matter of fact, we have a mostly all-hunter raid in Uldir going for the Hunter Taming book organized by DOA and Gajora. So that's on right now. So if you're listening to this live, you might want to pop up to the WoW voice channel and see if there's still room. New Braid killed Rostakon last night, which was a first for a couple of attendees. All right. And patch 8.2 dropped, opening up Mechagon and Nazjatar for questing and story. We have a link to the content update notes in there, but just a few tiny highlights. Strap in. All right. Increase your power with benthic gear. New upgradable armor that can be collected in Nazjatar. If you like barnacles, this is the armor for you. Just saying, if you're into the whole pirate barnacle, Pirates of the Caribbean, undead coming out of the thing with the barnacles. Yeah, this is the armor
David
for you.
Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Defeating powerful enemies, completing quests, plundering the treasures of Ashara's minions may yield prismatic mana pearls. Spend the new currency on many different items within Nazjatar, including benthic tokens and upgrades for benthic gear, pets, and a mount. After establishing a hub in Nazjatar and empowering the Heart of Azeroth, players will make their way to Mechagon, starting the quest The Legend of Mechagon, which can be accepted by Alliance players in Borealis and Horde players in Dazarlor near each city's respective flight masters. Once you're in the zone, players will have access to Pascal King, K1N6, a giant iron robot who will help players craft equipment, mounts, toys, consumables, and more in exchange for spare parts and energy cells found across Mechagon. Recipes to craft more items can be found across the island. As a matter of fact, I had enough to craft the mechanical cat, and today while I was out questing, I got the red paint drop, which means that you can actually dye the cat red. I think there's red, green, orange, blue, and maybe one other color that I've seen available, but I have the red one now, so it's tinted red. And that is the Junkyard Tinkering. There is also a pocket-sized computation device. This pocket-sized device is a trinket that allows players to customize via 3 punch card sockets in which you can insert 1 red, 1 yellow, and 1 blue punch card. Level 120 players will then unite with Prince Arizmin and the Rust Bolt Resistance to help overthrow his deranged father and destroy his Mecha Originator Doomsday device in this new 8-boss mega dungeon.
Dun, dun, dun.
Also, while you're out questing, keep an eye out for quests and drops and hints and other things that will allow you to unlock essences for the Heart of Azeroth. These are items that power it up, very similar to some of the unlocks we had in Legion with the weapons.
Weapon? Yeah.
Yeah, the artifact weapon. All right. There is new mount equipment. If you had the Water Strider, you should have got one Water Strider or one water walking thing in the mail. It's per character, but it's for all the mounts on that character. So if you equip the water walking on, on your main, and then you decide later on you want to do the parachute because you like jumping off mountains for whatever reason, you can put that on another character, and then all the mounts have that ability to, fall from a great height, and the parachute will land you down slowly. But again, it's one piece of equipment for all your mounts on that character, and the equipment gets destroyed when you replace it, so you can't just swap it out.
Yeah, it's a good gem.
Unlike the Heart of Essence, the essences, which you can swap out without destroying them. Also, new quests. You have new stories and adventures from Magni Bronzebeard, the continuation of the war campaign, The Day of Execution, dealing with Bane Bloodhoof, and new heritage armor for the gnomes and Tauren. There is a new epic battleground Ashran. That's when you call up the battlegrounds, you have to go down to the epic battleground section, which is a 40-player one, and you can queue for that. If you are in war mode, there is a new war mode event called the Battle for Nazjatar, and I think there's one of the essences that you can only get if you're in war mode and do a certain quest line. So that's something you may want to look at. You can open up the Heart of Azeroth. It lists all the essences and how you acquire them. So take a look.
One of them is also you have to kill X number of Alliance players.
Or Horde players, yes.
So, yeah, but they highly recommend if you're after that one, do it now while people are still not able to fly.
Exactly, because once you're flying, forget it.
Yeah.
There are new island expeditions. There are 2 new islands. They're very fun. We ran those. I think we ran those on Sunday, and those were fun to go through. There are on the islands now. There's new equipment that you can power up. There's a goblin jump pack that you find 8 pieces of it throughout the island. You take it back to your ship, which you can use the Flight Master to get back to your ship, just in case you didn't know that. And then you power up the jump pack, and then when you jump, it's a mini heroic leap for anyone. And land on people, do damage. It's fun. Also, there are new missions and new mechanics in the war table. And there are new troops as well. So one of the ones you'll unlock is from it's a new type called the Captain or Sailor. I forget what the actual term is, but you get it after a short quest line, and then that troop will take care of missions that involve the sea and reduce the time and the difficulty on those.
Almost like the thing from what do you call it? The
garrison, the shipyard.
Yeah, it's like they combine the two.
Exactly. But thankfully, it's all contained on the mission table with the followers. And as you take the fight to the seas, your loyal followers will be with you every step of the way. You can now enlist. There it is. The boat captains and other skilled seafarers to fight your battles. I just had to read. Also in Nazjatar, I don't think it's in here. Yeah. In Nazjatar, you get a bodyguard similar to what you had in Legion. They level up. They get new powers. There's a DPS, there's a healer, there's a tank. And as they level up, they get new powers. And it really does help in Nazjatar to have them along.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's, like I said, there's one of 3, and you're actually choosing it for the day. So
right.
That's the thing that trips some people up, and I think they finally put that warning in
they do.
patch. Yeah. So, by the way,
so if you're
when you
trying to
choose
level
it,
up,
yeah,
go ahead.
I say as you when you choose it for the day, that's this for the rest of the day. Then the next day you have to remember that too. The next day you have to go back to the conch and say, "Hey, I need this person."
Right, and it does have a blue repeatable quest thing above the conch to remind you, "Hey, do this." And then when you pop it open, it shows you the 3 tabs, and you can see the levels of each, where they're at, and what powers they have, and when they unlock those. So,
yeah,
I think the highest level is 15 on them, on each of them, because they get their last. Well, they get their last power at 15, because you get it at 1, 3, and then I think the next one's 15 for some reason. But
that's a lot of grinding.
It is. Once forbidden skies of Kulturas and Zandalar will soon begin open to the heroes eager to take flight. The achievement Battle for Azeroth Pathfinder Part 2 will allow daring adventurers to take to the skies in BFA zones, including the 2 new ones, which is awesome. Unlocked flying will be rewarded with a mechanical parrot mount, the Wonder Wing 2.0, which looks very cool. Essentially, for Pathfinder Part 2, it's explore both new zones and get revered with the 2 new factions, and have done Pathfinder Part 1, you're good.
Play the game, basically.
Play the game. And there are new mounts. As I was talking earlier, I just got the mechanical cat mount. There are others. There's a Tide Stallion that you get. There's a horse that runs around, and you have to basically attract its attention, and then it will give you the quest. And there's other things. So just keep your eye out. Basically explore everything. Yes, I know it's easier once you have flight, right, or if you're a rogue or druid and can stealth everywhere. But basically just go everywhere, explore everything. Don't rely on just looking at the map and looking for quest markers. Those aren't going to help. They'll tell you, they'll get you to the area, but then once you're in the area, look around.
There's so many journeys.
Yeah, one of the things I really like in Mechagon is they give you a quest to go unlock 6 treasure chests in Mechagon, and it basically, they put them 6 different areas, so it forces you to go explore, because once you unlock a chest for that day, it doesn't respawn for you, so you have to go find all of them. And the last thing, there is a two last things: Pet Battle Dungeon Stratholme. So if you're into pet battles, there's a new pet dungeon, and players can now make all their armor slots except the legs hidden. Let's keep it classy. All right.
Yeah, but so
that's WoW. If you are enjoying WoW, you like how WoW plays, 8.2 is definitely more of WoW for WoW players. But if you like story and you like other things, what do we have, Mew?
Well, it seems like they put all the story into Final Fantasy 14. Funny how that works. Instead of the drip feed method, Final Fantasy 14 puts it all out there for you.
Yep.
Reason being is that if you're familiar, there's an expansion coming called Shadowbringers. However, pre-launch is live. So if you happen to have pre-ordered Shadowbringers, you're probably already playing and aren't listening right now because you're too busy playing it. And that seems to be the case all around. If you, it's basically as of Friday, I think it was 5 a.m. Eastern. They opened the gates wide, which is a double meaning. And everyone flooded in. The queue was very high. It's probably the highest I've seen it so far. But the upside is that things were pretty clean. I mean, once you were in, there was nearly no hiccups. It was just live and good to go. Everyone was very eager to go. I was surprised with just how many people were raring to go. There was a very large contingent of AAFC members. They're still there. I'm not sure. I think they've stopped to rest every now and then.
Maybe.
But, maybe, yeah.
Well, I mean, Abbo has twins, so does he ever really rest? I think what he does is plays, falls asleep at his desk. The twins wake him up. He goes, takes care of the twins, and then comes back and plays more Final Fantasy 14. Yep,
sounds about right. The Discord voice channel has been packed. I have yet to see a time of day or night, that there's not been someone in the voice channel. So there's someone there to play with and talk to if you want it. Happy to jump in. just so you know, everyone's very active, and some people are fairly well into the story. So if you need help with the new dungeons or with the new fates or just anything else you might need an extra person for, they're going to be there, and they seem very happy to help you. Luckily, there was no Raubon extreme modes for those that were here for Stormblood. There was a couple different points where it forced you into a non-skippable instanced solo fight, and it wasn't queued. So the servers just fell over when thousands and thousands of players all hit it at once.
So it wasn't a denial service; it was a players trying to play the game issue.
Yes, it was a deny of playing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So they've gotten around that this time. There's been none of those issues. They said that they decided, we didn't realize we needed a queuing system for a solo instance. Now we have one.
Awesome. That's something
What?
That's some work on your feet, but yeah.
They're used to needing it for the dungeons. That's where everyone hits really hard. They just these solo instances. It's literally they treat it. It's like playing a single player RPG. That's what these solo instances are. It's literally that, and it even feels that way.
Right, but if you have thousands of players hitting it all at the same time, you're going to bury a server.
I don't. It's just the first time I think they've done that. Had such an important fight right in the beginning. Normally, those important fights are further down.
Yeah,
but they wanted to get you right into the swing of things. So but
also I think part of it is the popularity because each expansion they've been building their player base, and there's just hype for this.
But the last counts that they published were 16 million subscriptions.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, what qualifications are for that, because I mean that seems pretty darn high. I mean, isn't that higher than WoW? That doesn't make sense. So, yeah.
But you could think about it is WoW's player base mainly was, North America, Europe, and then China. A lot of it was China.
Yeah, huge.
Final Fantasy is now, Asia, North America,
and Europe.
Yeah. So I can see that. Yeah. Well, especially the other thing is Final Fantasy 14's on PC and
platforms.
Yeah, and
PlayStation 4. Yeah.
Yeah, so, and it plays beautifully on PlayStation 4. I'm just surprised how well they've done to get that work. And the fact too that if you still want to be on your PC, you can still use your PlayStation 4 controller to flawlessly play the game on PC.
Yeah.
So, or you can Xbox works. It doesn't care. You can put a controller in there perfectly. But yeah, that's always been pretty amazing with that. But yeah, it's just it definitely feels like it. Like the game is packed. There's just people everywhere, and Goblin, where our guild is at, is considered a low pop server. Mm-hmm. It doesn't.
But also a preferred server, right?
Yeah, it's a low pop preferred server. It's where all the new people are put. And it's just like, wow, that this does not feel like a low pop server. It's so full of life. The main cities are packed. All of the main cities are packed.
Yeah,
but especially
Limbs are popping.
I don't know why people love Limbs and Moons of that, but it's probably because the Aetherite crystal is next to the market boards there. That's what I can think of is maybe everything's all right there. But the game's definitely hopping. But yeah, they've learned from Stormblood. So they've done a couple of really important changes. So to kind of touch on the broad story notes without any real spoilers, Shadowbringers is darker in tone. I'm surprised. Something called Shadowbringers is darker in tone.
Yeah.
It's very surprising. And if you remember, there was a lot of talk of morally gray story we couldn't find, and we were wondering where it was. I think we found it in Final Fantasy 14. Because holy cow, there's a lot of morally gray stuff going on.
Well, because I'm in the post Heaven's Ward, haven't got to Stormblood yet, and you see the morally gray starting there. So I still have to go through Stormblood to get to it, but yeah, I can see how they're setting it up.
Oh yeah, this Shadowbringers is all about morally gray, everything's morally gray here. It's like just a palette of grays.
Right.
As long as there aren't any, as long as there aren't any Jedi, McCall will be fine.
Dude, really?
Isn't there a term for Gray Jedi?
Yeah,
it's
not
called does not, does
they
not
don't exist. Yeah, not canon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been an interesting story so far. Another thing that it's interesting about the expansion, unlike the usual main story quest on Rails experience, they're actually throwing in kind of not quite branches, but like choices of which way you want to go. Kind of like how WoW started doing it to where you can go to any of the zones you want.
Right.
They're kind of doing that with Final Fantasy, which is interesting because the reason why Final Fantasy tends to keep it on Rails is because everything tends to lead into everything else, tends to lead into everything.
Right.
So they've actually found a way of allowing the player base to kind of split itself off in the beginning. So that kind of helps with the whole not having a Raw Extreme mode. It's you're half people going this way, half people going that way. You'll come back to the main area, but the thing is you're going to then have to go back to the side you didn't pick. So you're kind of doing, crazy 8 thing going on to get there. But like, it's nice that they're giving you more of a choice. So if you are weird like me and have alts, you can take a different path to get to where you're going. But
and that's the other thing, because part of the other thing with the zones is unlocking the flying in each of them. So if you're kind of, meandering zones, you kind of have to remember, hey, make sure you get flying, which generally comes at the end of that zone. So yeah.
And so far it feels like, and they kind of did this a little bit in Stormblood, where when they introduce you to these zones, you're kind of only getting access to the first half at first, and they're sending you back in.
Kind of like it's in Heaven's Ward, where you got sent there, you explored a little bit of it, and then an entire zone later, you come back to it and do the second half. Okay.
Yeah. That now they're doing that even more so. I think they liked having you dip a toe in, get a feel for the place, go back, do the main story beats, and then kind of come back in. It's like, oh yeah, this place again, and then you kind of dig a bit more. Then you get flying, and then as once the game knows that you could have get flying, that's when it starts giving you quests that actually need flying.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
It's kind of neat that way. It's if you get a quest and it's like, I can't do that without flying. Oh, that means flying's ready. Yay! So it's kind of a interesting way of doing things. But yeah, it's a nice change of pace. You're not just on the Rails experience. It's not it's still a theme park, but it doesn't feel quite as bad as it did in the past. So you kind of have a little bit of choice. There's a lot of great lore. We're getting a lot of interesting plot holes filled in, but it's making even bigger holes available.
Right.
So, it's a lot.
The thing about answering questions is they generate more questions.
Yes. I'm also hearing from the Discord voice chatter that the first dungeon has some very big reveals. The end of Stormblood had some interesting reveals. So, it's just been an interesting line of stuff, like stuff that just turns everything on its head. It's more into that morally gray stuff. It's If you haven't gotten there yet, people, there's some really interesting story coming. But enough about story, even though that's the best part of it.
That is really the best part of it.
It's just so well done, and you are such an important part of it. Like, you're not just a mindless cog in the wheels of war. You're actually like a main part. You're being asked questions, and you're actually like a main driver of what's going on. And so it's like you're kind of like the trump card coming in saying, things aren't going anywhere to stand still. Bring in the Warrior of Light, and then you just kind of push through, and it's kind of a nice feeling. Right. But yeah, Anyway, we can talk about story for days. There are, however, some new classes that everyone's jumping in. We kind of touched on it. The secondhand reports I've gotten is that Dancer is a ton of fun to play, and you might forget that this is a range class. It's also a support class.
Yeah. No, completely forget that, because just of the moves, because it has a 10-yard leap forward or dash forward, that you find yourself in melee and you're like, wait, I'm not supposed to be here. Back out.
Yep. Yeah, you're not supposed to. It doesn't seem like it hurts that much, but yeah, you're considered range support. So it's kind of like how the bards and machinists are supposed to be pulled back a bit.
Yeah.
But just the way the dancer moves, I know a lot of ninja diehards are saying it feels a lot like how that goes. But you're supposed to be ranged. You're throwing, and I can see how it might even be slightly rated to. It's essentially like a ranged ninja.
It
You're
is,
throwing
yeah.
chakra, and
Right.
I think there might be boomerangs at some point. It's thrown melee weapons essentially. So. But yeah, we're hearing that's a lot of fun. We're also hearing that Gunbreaker is a very fun tank class to play. There's even there's always that desire for some people to be anti-flavor of the month. Like I'm not going to go with the flow, but there's even those people are getting dragged in saying no, this is actually fun. This is a fun tank. Why is this so fun? I guess I'm a Gunbreaker now. Is what I'm hearing from a lot of people.
No, it is. It plays. Yeah, there's a rhythm to it that you have to get used to, just like Dancer. It's interesting to me. They're both rhythm classes, but once you get that rhythm, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Because that and the other one I tried. I think Red Mage. Red Mage was the other one that I unlocked, realizing that's an expansion ago.
It is, but it's. I think it's where they were just starting to get into this interesting stride of making really interesting changes to the classes, or just making us all together. But yeah, it's like
that's the other thing. That's the other thing. They took away 2 of my spells, and I don't like it.
And I mentioned here a lot of familiar buttons are just gone. I mean, when you log in, you're just going to see a bunch of red slashes through your commands. Go ahead and remove them. Do what?
Were things combined when it comes
no,
to that?
They streamlined. They took out the there was a tank only bar for building up threat and stuff like that. That's completely gone. Yep. So anything that relied on that is gone. So like bards had a AoE, or not an AoE, but basically like a party restore. So that's gone.
Part of that is because there's not TP anymore.
Right, exactly.
So that's what they do.
Like anything that related to TP, they took completely out. I can't do magic regen anymore. And they took out my kill shot. The below 10% hit the button, that's gone.
Yeah, which I think they felt it was just unfair for bursty stuff. Like raids love bringing bards and machinists because of that kill shot.
Yeah.
So they're kind of it's funny to watch that they've been learning from what WoW's been learning about.
Yeah.
Bring the player, not the class. All those kind of funny things. Like don't be super crazy with your buttons, but WoW's learning maybe we need to be crazy. So Final Fantasy is kind of benefiting, saying, okay, we need to prune it a little bit, but not too much, because they've taken a lot of the buttons away, but they've given a few back. They've been using new stuff. They combined some stuff, but it's mostly just they're trying to give the classes like an actual good feel. Again, probably learning,
and they do.
Yeah, it's like one of the things that's been interesting. So, for those not aware, Scholar and Summoner have the same job. They come from the same job. Their classes, or is it the other way around? I always get the two confused.
Isn't it from Arcanist?
They both come from that. So they share that experience pool, and as a result, up until now, they've been very similar. They had a lot of the same spells. They had the same mechanics to spend those spells, and it was very samey. Just one damaged, one healed. And in fact, if you were a scholar, you were expected to also damage as you were healing,
right?
Because you had a fairy that was
like a discipline priest.
Yeah, it was very, very much a discipline priest with an automatic healer fairy on your shoulder, just kind of throwing heals at people. So if you weren't DPSing, they'd yell at you almost. But not, Final Fantasy 14, they don't really yell at you. It's the other amazing thing is with 16 million people playing, they're not yelling at each other and frothing at the mouth of things. But anyway, the two of those are very similar. So in this expansion, they've actually kind of started separating the two. So the Scholar now has kept what is it? It's Aether. They have they push a button and get like three dots of being able to use an instant cast spell kind of thing.
Right.
They've taken that away from the Summoner. The Summoner actually gains those by doing something else that they're supposed to be doing. So they've actually kind of streamlined their DPS rotation a bit. It used to be that if you wanted to do your ultimate, which was getting Bahamut out, You had to get your Aether counts, run through them, do the little thing that happens when you run out of the Aether counts to, you do like an instant cast to build that up. Then get your dots up again, run through those 3 again, pop it up again, and then you can summon Bahamut out, and he does all of his super moves on him. They kind of clean that up. It's a little faster, because that's the thing is, everyone was wanting to get to that really cool spell. So it feels more like a interesting rotation. You're really DPSing. You're not just a DPS with some healing abilities. They kind of even took that away from them. That that's not what they're supposed to be doing. And the same thing for the healers. Healers, you're noticing you don't have as many DPS buttons as you used to, because they don't want you to be healing. They don't want you to be DPSing. You're supposed to be healing. You're a healer. Do some healing.
Yep.
So, and the tanks have also had some stuff changed too. Their auras have changed, I've noticed. They don't have mitigation auras anymore. They're tanks. I mean, I guess the idea is, well, you're a tank. You're wearing armor. Why does that armor not work as well? Because you're trying to do a little extra DPS. So they took that away. You don't have a DPS aura and a tank aura. Now it's more of I'm doing a better job of keeping threat aura.
Right.
So I guess you're insulting their mother a little harder or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, you're doing something to get things attention a bit better. Do what?
Yes.
Throwing shade.
Oh yeah, definitely throwing lots.
Shady
Especially
aura,
definitely in Shadowbringers, you're throwing lots of shade.
Yep.
But yeah, it's interesting the way they're going. I like it. It feels good. I've actually been leveling as a Dark Knight because it just felt fitting in this expansion. And it feels meaty. It's there's some good AOE. They've kind of changed the way that class plays to where you're building up its own resource, and you're spending it a lot easier. You're not having to hold it for once in I'm about to die kind of cooldowns. It's just you're just being a tank and enjoying yourself. So so far I'm liking it. But so is everyone else, it seems. Speaking of other things that everyone's liking that are new, there's been a flood of bunnies.
Mm-hmm.
They're just everywhere.
Yep.
It's possible the majority of the race is no longer Makote. It is now Viera, because they're everywhere.
They are.
Oh yeah. It's basically like,
it's almost like bunnies. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Reproduce.
Well, yeah.
Well, the funny thing is there's only female ones, so we're not sure how this is happening. Yeah.
Biology.
Yeah. But on the other side of that, we have the Hrothgar. Not quite as popular, but still very visible because they're big hulking cat dudes.
Yeah.
You can't miss them.
No.
But a rumor is both races have little reason to use the esthetician, though, which is the hairdresser in this world, because their hair is tied to their actual face, the face you choose, meaning you'll have to use the Fantasia, which is Final Fantasy XIV's version of race change, to change all that out.
Okay.
So it's kind of annoying. There's probably hope that they'll try to fix that. But they're still doing some stuff. Like, they wanted to give you the playable race, and this is the playable race. They're still adding things like the Hrothgar don't have a lot of hats yet. In fact, I don't think they have any hats. They've managed to get glasses and bandanas and other little pieces to you attach to the head just fine. Same thing for the Viera. The way their heads are, and the fact that the Viera have giant ears, they haven't figured out a good way of putting hats on them yet.
Yeah.
It's already kind of silly with the Makote with their cat ears. Like, when they try to give them a hat, you can very clearly see the ears either sticking out or like they're part of the hat where their ears. I always wonder, like, how do you hear?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, your ears in this helmet that's clearly static, like those ear parts are not moving. Your ears just shoved in there. How do you hear anything when you're tanking?
Yeah.
How does that work? But yeah, just to warn people, like, when you are creating a new Viera or Hrothgar, make sure you're happy with the hair, because you're stuck with it for a while until they figure something out.
Voice. Some of the people didn't like the Viera voice they picked. So there was a link. Somebody linked all the Viera voices and went through them all, because they sound different on the creation screen than they do when you're in combat. Yeah, that's the battle voices, and number 7 in particular for the Viera is actually confirmed to be bugged.
Oh, interesting.
And that's why it's so horrible, because it's basically like basically, I think they gave it the wrong sound. So as the character is like, shooting arrows or shooting a gun, you basically hear,
Oh wow.
It's like, I think that's probably like the damage noises, like they're being hit or falling or something along that noise, and they accidentally put it onto the battle noises. So yeah, it's been interesting.
That sounds like a bug, not a feature.
Yeah. But some people are, of course, loving it, so they're just,
right.
happily choosing it. It's kind of the new version of so the Makote females have a very high pitched noise they make for one of the voices if you choose. So it sounds like a very high pitched squeak, and that's been the last voice that everyone it's because it sticks out so much as you're in the midst of battle. You hear It's like, okay, yeah, that's that one Catgirl voice. So
yeah.
So yeah, now there's the Vieira one. So there are lots of comments about that. Let's see. Oh yes, and for those that are new to the game, I wanted to leave a little section here for catch up. It is highly recommended you play through the entire story at least once, because it's just too good to pass up. But otherwise, there is now class level 270 skips and straight to Shadowbringer story skips available for purchase with your real life money in the Mog Station. So if you've kind of fallen behind, you got distracted by something, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to go through all this stuff to catch up to everybody. Well, no, it's not a big deal. You can with real life money catch up to everyone and get into all the new shiny stuff. It is recommended that you go all the way through the story at least once. Although I know not everyone has 4 or 5 alts in this game. So yeah. For those that are playing the older expansion, don't worry that you're going to be left behind, though, because those playing the newest expansion will be interacting with those players and in the old content. So you're not going to be left behind. You're just still going to see your friends. They have to do the old stuff. They're going to be in the old areas. It's just part of the way the game is designed. They're going to be in the same queues you are. It's just they're going to be, there are specific queues where they want to stick to the higher stuff they can, but for the most part, it's actually more beneficial to do the queues that are throughout the whole game. So you're going to see them, don't worry. You're going to see plenty of Hrothgar and Vieira gunbreakers because everyone's a gunbreaker. But yeah, I think that's more than enough for me about Final Fantasy XIV. It's a lot of fun. The real launch is on Tuesday. So yeah.
Be prepared. All right. So we have some brief SOTOR news. AIE and SOTOR has initiated the Summer of 300 with a handful of CXP 300 achievements being removed in the fall for the expansion. They want to get some of them done before it becomes a feat of strength. There's a group working on command ranks on alts to see how far they can get over the summer. Also in that 300 theme, I'm sure you guys noticed that last Escape podcast we mentioned was 298. So that means this episode 300 is coming on Tuesday, July 9th. They'll likely be taking over some or all of the MFN for a pre-party show and then talking about the last 5 years of SOTOR. For Friday night MFN and weekly activities, the guild is kicking their large invasion targets this summer. The devs increase the rate of conquest points, gaining a couple of ways, and AIE, of course, is taking full advantage of that. July's Mega is a full epic. It will be an epic hunt for the ancient threat on Yavin. This will be a 7/27, and this will be on 7/27. It'll mark the kickoff for AIE's Summer of Love. A big hello and welcome to a handful of new AIE members that have joined in the last few weeks. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, and we did Terror from Beyond, which is a operation on Tuesday's MFN. I had a level 70 brand new healer, was command rank 2 going in, and when we downed the final boss and turned everything in, they were command rank 28. So they got 26 ranks during the operation. Wow. So yeah, it's crazy how much CXP you're getting. And listen to I think it was 298 when they talk about the different ways of getting CXP, because Max and Seema were going through and saying, this is what I'm trying, this is how many command ranks I'm getting, that sort of thing. And then you can kind of find your play style if you're interested.
Right.
All right. But in Elder Scrolls Online news, the Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood event starts July 2nd and runs through July 15th. You will get double rewards for world bosses and delve boss kills, as well as the dailies. There will also be increased reward for heists and sacraments. I'll leave that right where it is. This event, and there will also drop event tickets for the new Shadowy Onyx Indrik mount. You can earn a max of 2 tickets per day per account. And as always, MFN is on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, hosted by Dan Kinia.
Yep. And one of the neat things about the Thieves Guild and Dark Brother events is the fact that the drops that they're giving you are really nice custom pieces for if you have a shadowy, thief thing going on. Like if you are an assassin or /thief, you want those drops because it's going to give you the full set to use for your transmog in their game. So highly recommended if you're trying to get that kind of a look together. However, over in EVE, there's a war happening in EVE. Shocker. But apparently they've added PvE to EVE, and it completely threw everyone off kilter. Now the slumlords who used to controlling large swaths of space with player-owned structures, or POS, are having to actively defend them since the people they're renting to, or that's a weird sentence.
The people they're renting to aren't defending them or really aren't helping, and now they're all in
another uproar because they have to actually engage with the game content and not the people content, essentially. So they've added a new alien faction, essentially, but it's a PvE alien faction. It's NPCs, and unlike the usual NPCs, which just kind of mind their own business and might poke at you a little bit, but if you get away from them, leave you alone. No, these are actually chasing people down, attacking player-owned structures, trying to destroy them. I mean, this is like actual PvE content, and all of these, staunch PvPers are like, "What's going on? I don't understand. There's a soulless killing machine coming after me."
Yeah, and the thing is, the one thing they found out is when you attack a player-owned structure, it will go into a reinforcement phase. The Drifters, which is the NPC class or NPC name for them, don't come back and attack a structure after it's entered reinforcement. So there's kind of a grace period now. So we don't know if it's going to continue like that or if that's just the way it is to get people used to it and say, hey, it's going to knock your structure down. You're going to have to go reinforce it. And then they'll come back later. Or if it's just, giving other player factions time to go, hey, that's going to come out of reinforcement soon. We're going to finish it off. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks like they throw things really into chaos, but it's EVE, so that works.
Yeah,
exactly.
All right, and we have some STO news. 2019 Ryzen Luana Festival starts on July 2nd, so Tuesday? Yes. Tuesday. It's almost time for captains of all 3 platforms to relax and take a break on Ryza and get their hands on DT3 Ryzen Corvette, new costumes, emotes, and more. Yay. There's currently a lifetime subscription sale. Captains on PC can save $100 on the lifetime subscription until August 1st. Get access to tons of ships, playable races, and more. AIE is currently working on 2 fleet holdings, the Spire and the Colony. And, of course, mandatory fun night for Star Trek Online started a half an hour ago, so you are officially late.
Yep.
Exactly. And Dent just posted that he's hopping in voice chat now if anyone wants to hang out and do stuff.
Awesome.
Although I would suggest looking at the AI Discord right now, there's a number of people in Final Fantasy 14 and WoW, so the STO might be a little light, but join anyway. All right, and in Guild Wars 2, the revived Dragon Bash Festival started last week and will run for 2 more weeks. It's been moved to Holbrack and has new races and good loot. There's a new guild hall decoration, a holo projector that makes a giant holo Krakatoric fly the skies. Please contribute to the guild hall so they can get the coolest of decorations. And there's a YouTube video showing some of the Dragon Bash Festival events.
And last but not least, Lord of the Rings Online has a continued focus on Saturday night mandatory fun nights. Might be looking to get a monster play event going on later in the summer. For those not familiar, that it's a feature that allows you to play as the monsters and come after your friends, the heroes.
So we get to go after the hobbitses?
Yes,
exactly. Yep.
You can take the hobbits away from Isengard or whatever.
Isengard, right.
Isengard, yes. All right. Well, that was a lot of news, mainly because we had 2 huge games launch and a lot of discussion around that. So we are not going to have our normal game discussion this week. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the show to keep it within the hour we try and do. So make sure you join us in 2 weeks for more Final Fantasy discussion, because we'll have Abbo and Duras on, and they can tell us, now that they've reached max level and have gone through a lot of the story, how everything's going, what people are doing, and that sort of thing. So that is going to be our show for tonight. While the showroom begins suggesting show titles, we want to thank us for joining us.
Thank you, us. You're a lovely guest.
Yeah.
If you have a question or comment about our show, you can email us at podcast@aie-guild.org, which gets some really interesting spam mail, by the way. You can follow us on Twitter. The show is at AIE Podcast. I am at the Mew Cow. Makala is at Cyberwaif. Tetsemi is at Ivory Tiger. We record live with video every other Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can join the chat room and play along with us on our website, which is aie-guild.org/podcast-live-stream. And our Discord server for chat is at aie-guild.info/discord. Our theme was composed by the amazing Andrew Allam. Follow him at Keys for Soul, or visit his website, keysforsoul.com.
All right, and now it's time to play all the great AIE member segments received this week, including Ask Buxley, thank you Buxley, and Overly Dramatic News from Hunts the Wind, thank you Hunts. By the way, if you guys want to try your hand at creating a segment, please feel free to chat with us, let us know. We definitely absolutely love guildy created content, not unlike Eve. And it's always fun to see what you guys have up your sleeves.
Yep, definitely.
All right. Next time, we will be talking to Abovan and Duras about AIE in Final Fantasy XIV and Shadowbringers. So until then, AIE, this is Tetsemi.
And this is Mewcow.
This is Makala.
And this has been the AIE Podcast. Seema, that is an amazing title. Final Wowsy 8.14.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Although Tiber's Ashara versus Shadowbringers, I like that. Bunnies everywhere. Whole lot of news. Yeah, these are all great.
Yeah,
I do like be a warg and eat a hobbit for second breakfast. It's pretty good too.
Yeah. I don't know if Max actually meant that for a show title, but you know what?
Pretty good.
Going with it.
Summer 300 gains with expansions. Yeah, feels like it because that was a lot of news. I saw all that on the page. I'm like, that's a lot.
Yeah. And I didn't even try that hard, honestly.
No,
and I didn't. Yeah, I had to trim down the WoW news because that could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I purposely limit myself because I know I can go on very easily.
And we didn't even talk about what we're doing in and out of game.
Yeah, because I think it's pretty obvious what we were doing in and out of game.
Yeah,
Except for your part. I think the physical games is the only thing we're missing.
Yeah. Sorry, Makala.
Don't be. Not a big deal.
Oh, we like to hear your dice game updates.
Yeah.
No, it's not a biggie.
Not to mention how you're recovering from all your cons.
No. We have another one this weekend.
Oh, okay, never mind.
No, it's coming up. That's next weekend. It was funny because we were discussing, well, do we just need to push the show back to next weekend? I'm like, you want to do a podcast right after a con? I don't think so. She's like, oh, yeah, no.
No, we had plenty to talk about, clearly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, I haven't played anywhere near as much as those other guys. I've only been able to get little bits here and there, especially with a little boy with a fever going on. But
oh yeah,
I'm only like 71, and they're already in the first dungeon, and I think they're 73, 74 by now. Like they are definitely powering through this stuff.
Yeah, I'm almost to 62, but like I said, I'm post Heaven's Ward, so we'll get there.
Yep. Now you still got some good stuff to go through.
All right, so what are we doing?
I like the Wowza.
The final Wowza 8.14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I think we're gonna. do that. So, all right. Cool. Well, with that, chat room, thank you for joining us and putting up with us and all that.
Alert.
Yeah, I will get the podcast edited and get it out tomorrow morning like normal. Have a good, if you're in the U.S., 4-day weekend coming up, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, unless you're me, but I do have a 4-day weekend. It just falls on different days.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, bye, chat room.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.